Welcome to the second part of the video tutorial on configuration and setup of local area network. In this tutorial, I am going to interconnect two local area network. On the left hand side, I have a LAN 1 with a network address of 192.168.0 and a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. On the right hand side, I have a local area network 2 with the network address of 192.168.2.0 and subnet mask of /24. I have already connected the PC to the switch, and for the switch is connected back to the router, and two routers are interconnected with each other. As you can see, the cable connection between the PC and the switch is copper straight through, whereas the wire between the router to router is crossover. So you have to take care of this. Further, I have already configured the IP address on the all PCs, and there is no requirement of configuring IP address on the switch. You can see each of the two ports are up on the switch. Now it's time for me to configure the IP address on the router interface. Before we proceed with the configuration, we need to take note of the interface connection with each of the router and the local area network. For that, I am going to configure router A. Let me take note of the port on which the LAN 1 is connected. It is clear that gigabit 0/0 is connected on LAN 1 and gigabit 0/1 is connected on the router B. Let me go inside the router by single clicking it. Now go to CLI. If you would like to configure the router directly without going to the CLI mode, you can do it on the Packet Tracer, but my recommendation is to go through the CLI, because in the real world environment you have to configure the router through the CLI or terminal. Press it, then you will be on the user mode. Here now you need to go to the enable mode by pressing enable EN. Then after that we have to go to global config mode, config terminal. After that we need to go to the interface mode, that is interface giga 0/0. Now we have to place the IP address over here. I am going to use IP address 192.168.1.254 with the subnet mask of 255.255.255.0 and no shutdown. I have to issue this command. Then after that I will go to another interface, gigabit 0/1. Here also I will have an IP address of 192.168.3.254. Again, no shutdown. Now I want to exit from this mode. I have to save the configuration. To do it, just simply type write command and the configuration is saved. Now I can see it. The link is up and it is now green. Now let me go back to the router B. I'll single click it, then go to CLI. Again, enable global config mode, then interface giga 0/0. IP address is 192.168.2.254. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. No shut. Interface giga 0/1. Let me save the configuration. The configuration is saved successfully. Now I have to verify the connectivity from PC 0 to router A. Let me go to PC 0, then desktop and command terminal. ping 168.1.254. The ping is successful. Similarly, I'll go to the local area network 2. Then on PC2, I'll receive the ping command and try to ping the gateway of this LAN 2. Ping is successful. Similarly, I'll go to the router A and try to ping router B so that I can verify the connectivity is up and working. Ping, it is successful. Now I would like to test the connectivity from PC0 all the way to PC2 on LAN 2. For that, I'll go to PC0 and issue the ping command to PC2 on LAN 2, that is 2.100. If I try to ping it, definitely I will not be able to ping it. As you can see, the request timeout is there. The main reason behind this is that router A does not have any information about 2.0 network. That means the router 2 doesn't have any kind of information regarding the local area network 2, which can be verified by going inside the router. And once you go inside the CLI, you can issue a command known as IP route. This is the routing table of the router A. Here we can see C means the connected route, where it is telling us that 192.168.1.0 network is directly connected and it is connected on gigabit port 0/0, whereas 192.168.3.0 is also directly connected and it is connected on gigabit port 0/1. And similarly, L means local, which is the IP address of the router itself. Here the IP address of the router is 1.254 on gigabit 0/0 and 3.254 on gigabit 0/1. So the destination address which we are trying to ping from PC0, which is 2.0, if you check this routing table, you will not find the IP address listing for the destination address. That's the reason why we were not able to ping from PC0 to the PC2. For this, we need to configure the router A. Let me go back to the CLI, then I'll go inside the command line. Here I have to manually provide the routing information for 2.0 network. To do that, we have different routing protocol. In this example, I am going to use static routing. Static routing is the non-dynamic routing protocol. Here, the network administrator itself will define the routing path for the destination. I am going to put the routing path for 2.0 network. To do so, I have to go to the global configuration mode, config terminal. Then I have to issue a command as IP route. This is the command for static route, and the destination network is 192.168.2.0, and the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Now after this, we have to provide it the exit interface, the interface from which the packet has to exit when it wants to reach this network. That means if you see here, if it wants to reach this network, the packet has to exit from gigabit 0/1 of router A, or it has to send the packet to the IP address of this router on this interface. So that means we have two options. Either we provide the exit interface IP address, or we provide the IP address of the directly connected interface on the next router. So I will give the exit interface, that is gigabit 0/1. Once again, I want to check the routing table. To do so, I will show IP route. we can see there is a static route entry for 2.0 and it is through the interface 0/1. Now the router knows the information about 2.0. Similarly, we have to do the same process on router B, because now the router A knows about this interface. However, the router B does not know about LAN 1. Similarly, we have to go to the router B and we have to configure the static route on this router also. For that, I'll go inside the command enable mode, global configuration mode, then IP route 192.168.1.0 255.255.255.0 and exit interface to reach on this network is gigabit 0/1, which means for the router B to reach the local area network 1, it has to exit through this interface. So that is the gigabit 0/1. I'll put it here. Then I have, if I now I want to check the routing table, I can issue the command show IP route. I can see there is a static route of 192.168.0 network and it is through the gigabit port 0/1. Now if I go back to the PC0 and issue a ping command for PC2, definitely I will be able to ping it. So let me issue the command once again. Let me recall the history 2.0. Let us give it some time. However, you can see the request time is out. If we check the IP address of this device by going to the IP configuration, we can see the IP address of this PC is correctly configured, the subnet mask is configured. However, when you see the gateway is not being configured. So that means if I want to ping PC0 to PC1, I may not need the gateway IP address, because the PC0 will never send traffic to router A if it wants to reach PC1 within the same local area network connection, within the same network. For the communication between two devices, we don't need to reach to the gateway. However, if we want to interconnect on the another network, then definitely the PC has to send its traffic to the router A, which is the gateway for the PC0. So it is very important to configure these things. Many times our beginner friends will forget to put the default gateway, and they will wonder and they will keep on wondering what is the reason that they cannot ping from one LAN to another LAN. Many times it might be because of wrong default gateway or failing to configure the default gateway at all. 1.254, then I made a mistake over here. Then again DNS will be 0.0.0 because I don't have DNS server at the moment. Then if I go back to PC2, maybe it doesn't have the same things. Default gateway is missing there, 192.168.2.254. Now let me go back to PC0 and issue the ping command. Let's see whether it will be successful or not this time. Now the ping is successful. We are getting the reply from 2.100. Also, if we want to check from here, the similar result will be available. 1.100. If I want to ping here, 1.100. In this way, we can get reply from both sides. So the most important thing is, once we configure once we set up the local area network, we need to set up the router. Then after that, we need to set up a static route on both of these routers. The command to set up the static route is, I want to write it down again, IP route, then the destination IP address, destination network address, your 0, let's assume this is the destination network address, and the subnet mask, and after that the exit interface gigabit 0/1 or 0/2, whichever interface the packet is going to exit to reach to this destination. This is the important command to set up the static route. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you appreciate my job, please subscribe to my channel and like this video.